Right now at 10, the NFL draft is less than a day away. We are live in Green Bay with what's in store for the green and gold. Plus, celebrating one of UW Health's most visible programs, the life-saving work done by MedFlight over the past 40 years, and transforming an aging community venue. What's in store for the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. That is all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson. We are just one day away from the NFL draft coming back to Wisconsin for the first time in 85 years. News 3 Now is bringing you coverage with teams in the field, and we are monitoring what could turn into a rainy event from here. For everything you need to know for the draft, you can find it here or on channel3000.com. And let's begin with Eric Franke and Packers expert Jason Wilde for more on what we can expect over the coming days. How's it going, guys?
Sarah, good evening. It's been a pleasant day here in Green Bay. It was real nice and sunny all day. It's gotten a little cool tonight. The calm before the storm, as Jason called it earlier today. And there's the Packers war room right there. The lights are on. Do you think Brian Gutekunst is in there toiling over his notes for the last-minute decision?
Well, he probably watched our newscast from earlier and realized what needs he's got. Yes. Look, the board has been set for a while, and one of the things Brian Gutekunst told us on Monday was, this is when you make the most mistakes. We should just take 5 days off and then come back on Thursday. He's probably right about that.
We should point out, for all these people, the NFL's putting all this stuff together. Mm-hmm. This is just another draft, really, for the Packers.
It really is. It's crazy that he's up there right now doing his work. But if you think about it, whether this draft was in Chicago or Detroit or on the moon, their operation would be the same. It absolutely would be. That's why I'll be spending most of my time inside Lambeau Field instead of in the carnival around us.
Good stuff. We'll get back to Jason here in a little bit for more of his thoughts on exactly what the Packers might do tomorrow, what their needs are, go over some of that, some draft day goods, some talk of who the Packers might take coming up a little bit later. Sarah?
Plenty to look forward to. Thank you, Eric. Great job, guys. And fans from around the country are flocking to Titletown. The NFL is comparing predicted attendance to 3 Packers football games in a row. For more on the sights and sounds of the draft, let's head back up north. We have sports director Zach Hanley and sports reporter Andrew Banstra.
Sarah, I got to be honest, it still feels a little surreal that the draft is actually in Green Bay, Wisconsin. But lives, of course, will change tomorrow. And they also change today. Ahead of the biggest day of their lives, the players that are in town for the draft that are going to be more than likely hearing their names called in the first round, well, they teamed up with the Special Olympics to put on a football clinic, leading kids through drills and teaching them skills. And it was an opportunity that they jumped at to give back.
It's a blessing to come out here and just be able to give back to the community. Just being able to be out here with these kids and put a smile on their faces. At the end of the day, that's all we look for as high-profile players.
Just hope they learn that they got to work hard. They got to push themselves to, how far they think they can't push themselves. There's a lot of days where, I wanted to quit, but I didn't quit just because look where I am now.
Now, Cam Ward is projected to be the #1 overall pick tomorrow night in the NFL draft, and he mentioned that he is a huge Aaron Rodgers fan, so much so that he said that he wished he could learn from number 12. Well, you never know what could happen in the NFL draft. There is a chance that he and Aaron Rodgers could team up. We just don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to play football next year. Always a Packer connection, Sarah.
And it will be interesting to see. You never know, right? Thank you so much, Zach. Well, the draft will take place over the next couple of days, and we're set to see some more rain during that time. We have meteorologist Jacob Montesano on more what we can expect here and there.
Yeah, we are going to see, unfortunately, the chance of rain for the NFL draft. Let's start with that, actually. Looking at the draft forecast, light rain possible for Thursday, but otherwise not going to see much tomorrow. Friday, though, we are going to see more consistent rain and cooler temperatures. And then by Saturday, it will be a lot better with sunshine expected. Now down to southern Wisconsin, the current radar is starting to show some showers and thunderstorms move into our area. And just to the west, out in northeast Iowa, there actually is a severe thunderstorm warning for hail up to 1 inch in diameter. There is a possibility of severe weather tonight for the entire region, a marginal risk right now in place. The most likely hazard will be some minor hail, but definitely don't be surprised if you hear a few rumbles of thunder while you're asleep. Let's take a look at the forecast. We'll continue to see those push through the area. Looks like most of it will stay, or at least the heaviest will stay west and north of Madison and Dane County. Still could see some precipitation in southeastern Wisconsin, and the best chance of severe weather will likely be in the next few hours. The later in the night we get, we're mostly just going to see showers. And then as we get towards Thursday morning, we're not expecting much. Still could see some light rain west and north, but a lot of the area will be dry. Now, current temperatures very comfortable, lower 60s, upper 50s. They're going to drop into the lower 50s, but overall, that's not too bad at all. And it's going to be a very nice day tomorrow despite the cloud cover. I'll talk more about that and track our next chance of rain, and also talk about an alert day next week. I'll have those details coming up a bit later.
Sounds great. Thank you, Jacob. In other news now, the U.S. Army has suspended the commander at Fort McCoy. In a statement on the base's website, the Army says Colonel Shayla Bays Ramirez has been suspended. It goes on to say the suspension is not related to any misconduct and that the matter is under review. This news comes after the Department of Defense posted images earlier this month showing the base's portraits of both President Trump and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth turned to face the wall. Nearly a week ago, Sun Prairie elected Kevin Warwick to be the next police chief. It was after a large turnout at a public forum in March that the department chose Warwick to lead the agency as chief. Right now, he is completing his last days as an operations commander up in Green Bay, actually. He's worked there for more than 20 years, and he says his experience has prepared him to be a chief.
I've done a lot of work in the community, especially, just giving the community a voice. I think that's important, and that's what I'm going to bring to the city of Sun Prairie. Whether that's just having community meetings, meeting people where they're at, making sure that people are heard. I think that's where the police legitimacy comes into every community. People want to see actions.
And the swearing-in ceremony is scheduled for May 12th. Warwick says he's excited to call Sun Prairie his new home. A new policy in Madison could save lives and prevent underage drinking tickets. The Madison Police Department's Amnesty Through Responsible Action program offers immunity from underage drinking citations if someone calls for help during an alcohol or drug-related emergency. The policy protects both the person in distress and the caller as long as the caller stays and cooperates with responders. This mirrors UW-Madison's existing rule and also shields victims of crimes like assault from citations. Well, today is the 40th anniversary of UW Health's MedFlight, the emergency transport service that provides care for patients in Wisconsin and other states nearby. Our Merrill Hubbard brings us to the flight pad to meet physicians who take care to the air.
Most doctors are used to staying indoors, whether it be a hospital or a clinic, and having their patients meet them. But 21 UW Health physicians prefer a different method as they take to the sky to help those in need.
We are the trauma team.
With a doctor and nurse on board, this helicopter propels health forward.
We truly do bring critical care to the bedside.
UW Health's MedFlight started in 1985 with a crew that responded to an emergency in Adams Friendship. Now, 40 years later, the program has served more than 50,000 patients.
And this is what we train for our whole life, Firemen look forward to the big fire. Policemen look forward to the big chase.
Dr. Michael Abernathy has been flying with UW MedFlight since 1992.
I trained long and hard to take care of very sick patients in very austere environments, and that's what I do best.
Most of their flights take them to smaller community hospitals or rural areas.
So it's a very different mindset that you have out in the field or in a rural area than you might have here at a university hospital.
Dr. Ryan Wibbin flies full-time.
I also came from a kind of an aviation background as well, so it was kind of the perfect marriage of medicine and aviation that most people, just as physicians, just don't have that opportunity in this country.
UW Health's MedFlight is the only program in the country that staffs every flight with an attending level emergency physician.
So it's truly something special.
Both Ryan and Michael want to see the program keep moving forward.
I think to make it 40 years, and we're only growing.
Reporting in Madison, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Meryl. In other news, Wisconsin Democrats are challenging Wisconsin's 1849 abortion ban with a new bill. It's called the Abortion Rights Restoration Act. The legislation would expand abortion access, allow telehealth medication abortion, and permit healthcare professionals like nurse practitioners to provide care. Supporters say this bill would clarify roles of healthcare professionals and protect them against prosecution.
This bill is about protecting a person's ability to decide for herself what kind of reproductive health care is needed. This bill is about protecting healthcare professionals from criminal punishments for providing patient-centered and medically indicated health care for their patients.
Politicians get to decide.
The legislation comes as a direct response to the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision, which eliminated federal abortion protections and left reproductive rights to individual states. Well, today, Dane County health officials, gave a firsthand look at the aging infrastructure at the Alliant Energy Center's Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Staff at the Coliseum say Madison is missing out on events because of this space right now. Arman Rahman shows us what they hope to work on.
This is guests' first impression of the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and it's been largely unchanged since the building opened back in 1969. It's one of many places county leaders want to focus on when revamping the space.
Have it feel more grand and have it feel more welcoming.
But in order to be as grand as the memories.
As a teenager, Jethro Tull.
And I spent a number of my birthdays here with my family watching the Globetrotters.
People have to get in the door safely and efficiently, which proves difficult in the congested entryway.
It's pretty difficult for us to properly screen people.
It's really not friendly to people that have problems navigating stairs or families with young kids.
Alliant Energy Center Director Kevin Schiebler says the Coliseum also has a hard time getting acts in. He says an arena this size should be doing 120 to 150 events a year.
This building in total does about 57, and of that, probably only 20 of them are standalone Coliseum events.
A big reason, he says, many tours nowadays want to rig about 50,000 pounds of sound and lighting equipment, and the Coliseum ceiling can support about half of that.
They'll just bypass us altogether, right? So they'll go from Minneapolis to Chicago to somewhere else.
That's why Dane County Executive Melissa Agar plans to put out a request for proposals for a public-private partnership to revitalize the space.
It increases sales tax because people are buying tickets. If they come here, they're likely buying food and beverage. Some people may be traveling and they're going to eat at restaurants and stay at our hotels.
Agar says based on what a developer wants to invest, the county will match that price tag.
There is a building very similar to this in Champaign, Illinois, and they were able to renovate the inside for about $170 million.
But first, she wants to hear what the public wants to see go into the renovation.
I'd love to see geothermal power or solar panels be integrated into this renovation.
Agard says they hope to start renovating next year. Reporting in Madison, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
Still to come at 10, Jacob tells us about the rainy forecast to end out the week, and Green Bay is preparing for day one of the NFL Draft. What positions the Packers may be looking to fill? That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back, everyone. The NFL Draft begins tomorrow night already in Green Bay, and the Packers have some holes in their roster they're looking to fill. For more on the needs of the green and yellow, let's go out live again to Eric Franke and Jason Wilde. What can you guys tell us?
Sarah, it's getting to that point where we're kind of like, let's stop talking about, let's draft some people so we can talk about guys who are actually going to be in the program. But yeah, there are some needs for this football team. And we've talked about, the offensive line today. There's been a lot of receivers that have come in for visits. What else? There's some holes.
Yeah, I think the biggest hole beyond the wide receiver question is certainly a cornerback, number one, and then pass rusher, number two. And they have invested very heavily in pass rushers, both in terms of first-round picks, Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, Devontae Wyatt, the list goes on, Kenny Clark. And they've also paid some pretty big contracts to Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary. And yet here we are again. They're looking at, they had a bunch of edge rushers in for visits before the draft. They're only allowed 30. So the fact that they used as many as they did on wide receivers and on pass rushers tells you they know that those needs exist.
Yeah, Rashawn Gary coming off that injury last year really didn't give them maybe what they wanted. Right?
Well, you pay him an $84 million contract. The expectation there is to get better production. He's never had a double-digit sack season. He did tear his ACL a couple of years ago, but last year he was not the elite pass rusher they needed. They did not have enough good pass rushers up front at all. That's why they're looking at a guy like Shamar Stewart at number 23, a really good athlete out of Texas A&M, not a lot of college production, but a ton of potential.
Yeah, you know, the things they want in this league, you need a left tackle to protect from those edge rushers, and quarterbacks. Everybody pays a premium for that. Lucas Van Ness, it's time to kind of play some football now, right? I mean, show up.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the 13th overall pick, that obviously comes with expectations. But remember, he came out of Iowa. He'd never started a game for the Hawkeyes. So, look, I talked to Matt LaFleur earlier tonight. He asked me who I thought they were going to take. I don't think he was asking for advice. I think he wanted to see if I had any clue whatsoever what was going on. I don't think he knows, right? Because 23 is a tough place to pick. I think he'd love to have his defense get after the quarterback with 4 guys, give Jeff Hafley some more flexibility. But I did enjoy that he asked me who I thought they were taking. And I said Shamar Stewart. So if I'm right, I'm going to be bragging about it all day tomorrow.
That'd be good. We're going to keep an eye. We're going to keep score on that. So 23rd pick, what time does that normally happen with the draft start at 7 o'clock?
Probably right around where the 10 o'clock news is starting, so that's ideal. Perfect.
You'll know it. If it's Shamar Stewart, he'll be able to break it all down, and we'll continue to have draft coverage tomorrow when the fans show up, Sarah. They're going to be flooding this area. The NFL Draft Experience. Green Bay folks have worked so hard to get this place ready for this event. The NFL, we cannot believe there's still people out here at this late hour working on this draft. You guys got a few hours, but they are going to burn the midnight oil to get this thing ready to go. And this place will be rocking tomorrow in Green Bay. Sarah?
Yeah, we'll hardly be able to hear you guys, but we look forward to it. Thanks so much. And there's more rain to come tonight and over the coming days. Meteorologist Jacob Montesano has our chances for the showers.
Yeah, here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We're going to see that rain tonight, and then we'll see it again for Friday. But dry conditions are expected over the weekend before we have an alert day Monday and Tuesday for the possibility of severe weather. Now, speaking of severe weather, we could see some tonight, but we don't have an alert day because the severe weather will be very isolated and on the minor side. But looking to the southwestern portion of Wisconsin, we do have a few storms moving in, and out in northeast Iowa, there already is a severe thunderstorm warning for hail up to an inch in diameter. This storm right here pushing to the east, heading towards Platteville. There is a little bit of a hail core within this thunderstorm, so definitely be prepared for some potentially strong storms, especially for those of you around Platteville. That storm is heading towards you. And looking at the severe weather outlook, there is a marginal risk for everybody for the potential of some minor hail, maybe some strong winds. Tornado risk is just about 0. Now, looking at the forecast over the next couple of hours, the best chance for these thunderstorms will be for areas off to the west and to the north of Madison, but places in the southeastern portion of our area could still see some rain, but the heaviest will be north and west. And the best chance of severe weather will likely be through about 1 to 2 a.m. The later we get in the night, the less likely we'll see severe weather versus just regular showers. Now, as we get towards Thursday morning after sunrise, we're not going to see much precipitation at that point, maybe some rain for areas north and west, but for the most part tomorrow is expected to be dry. But as we get towards Thursday night and into Friday, we'll see more consistent precipitation move back into the area, some in the form of showers, some thunderstorms, but we're not expecting severe weather with this round of rainfall. And it's especially going to impact our area in the morning. By the afternoon, may see some lingering showers, but we'll be fairly dry by then. Now, temperature-wise for tomorrow, we're going to be very nice, upper 60s, lower 70s. Despite that the cloud cover, we are going to see very nice temperatures. But unfortunately for Friday, those temperatures are going to drop a little bit with highs only in the middle 50s, and it also will be breezy Friday. But then for the weekend, it's going to be very nice. High temperatures in the 60s, partly sunny skies, very little precipitation, if any. Only chance will be by Sunday evening. But then for Monday and Tuesday of next week, we have an alert day in the forecast for the possibility of strong to severe storms. Right now, the likelihood of severe weather is pretty high right now. And looking at the severe weather outlook, they normally don't put outlooks out for this far in advance because the confidence isn't too high. But you can see firsthand, there is a pretty high confidence for Monday and Tuesday. That's Monday, this is Tuesday. And although right now it looks like it may stay south of us, I do expect us to see that severe weather in southern Wisconsin. So definitely could be a pretty active day both of those days. Definitely stay updated to our latest forecast. After those alert days, conditions calm down a little bit. Highs will be in the 60s with partly sunny skies for the most part. But, until those alert days, we're going to see 3 very nice days. Tomorrow, although it'll be cloudy, it'll be very mild, and then the weekend will be very nice. We'll be right back.
It's been a long time since the Packers drafted a receiver in the first round. You have to go all the way back to 2002 when they picked up Javon Walker, and that's something historically this franchise doesn't do. But that could change this year. They're high on Arizona wideout Tetairoa McMillan. Now, he was given back this morning along with fellow Texas receiver Matthew Golden, and the thought of being a Packer as the 23rd overall pick has both of them all smiles.
I feel like home, like I said, man. I feel like I'm back at home. The city, the organization, just the people out here in general, I feel like it's a good place to be. Somewhere I can see myself, Any organization that's giving me, though, you getting a competitor, you getting a dog. So just knowing that I got the opportunity to come here, man, it means a lot to me.
If I was fortunate enough to come over here, whether they trade up or if I drop to them, it's a blessing, and it shows that they believe in the person I am and the talents I have on the field, and it's a huge blessing. And like I said, if I'm fortunate enough to come over here, I know that I'm gonna be in good hands for sure.
Now, guessing correctly who the Packers will pick is like finding a needle in the haystack, right? But I'm pretty sure Jordan Love would absolutely love throwing to either of those guys because on the field in college, they were straight up beasts. Live in outside Lambeau Field, Zach Hanley, News 3 Sports. We'll be right back.
This is so cool. TV fans with some cash to burn have their pick of the lot at Julian's upcoming channel surfing auction. Check this out. More than 600 items from iconic TV shows, including Edith Bunker's house dress from All in the Family, Dan Aykroyd's Conehead from Saturday Night Live, and props from Mad Men, I'm trying to read fast, are ready to go home with the highest bidder. For comic book fans, there's the Riddler's green suit, jacket and vest from the 1960s Batman series, and my favorite, all right, the Wonder Woman suit from the show's second season. Now, after that costume was redesigned to make it sexier, apparently, although, did we get to see it? We didn't get to see it in the video, but I do have my favorite. I have a Wonder Woman Lego that I keep at my desk.
So cute.
This is the real deal. And I did not plan for this at all. So
that is very cute.
We may need Wonder Woman with some severe weather, but we're not looking at anything too serious.
Yeah, I mean, there is some possibility of severe weather tonight. Looking at the current radar, we can see some of those storms in southwestern Wisconsin. But again, there's no alert day tonight, but we could see some minor hail from these storms tonight. We do have an alert day, though, for next week, Monday and Tuesday. Those days could be a little bit more active, so stay tuned to our updated forecast.
All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night.